guineas a week, Dr. Dowdall.
Yes, I telephoned to his address in Amiens Street.
He was connected with the Stevenses and the dental hospital. Not much forcible feeding there. Had he ever seen one performed before? Did you show him how it was done?
Yes.
How many examples of pumping did you perform in his presence before he performed on Mr. Ashe?
Oh, I cannot say. I think there were 4 or 5. He assisted me in some others.
When you inducted him into the art, did you leave him in his glory?
I was satisfied with his competence and left.
Dr. Lowe admits when he noticed that Mr. Ashe's lips were somewhat blue on completion of the seizure, he responded by telling the warders to take him away and get him lying down immediately. And it was the last we saw of him.
Yes, yes.
Let me read you a rule. Rule 158-3 says, the medical officer shall, once every day or oftener, visit every prisoner on punishment, or under any other prisoner to whom his attention is specially directed. The only record in the governor's punishment book handed to me is this. Prisoner refuses to do any work. Prisoner says he has nothing to say. Punishment awarded. Forfeit instructive books for 7 days. Also marks for every day he refuses to work. You are aware that this is the only record in the punishment book authorizing anything on Mr. Ashe.
I don't quite understand you.
How are you to know that a prisoner is under punishment unless it is in the governor's punishment book?
It would be reported to me on a special docket.
Show me the special docket. I had no knowing of this docket when we requested all forms. One question, dear. Will you tell me why the contents of the docket are not in the book?
I have nothing whatever to do with that.
The punishment book is dated the 17th of September. I hereby certify that I have examined prisoner 873, Thomas Ashe, and I find him fit for close confinement, fit for scale punishment number 1 and 2, also deprivation of mattress, fit for restraints in handcuffs, waist belt, muffs, restraining jacket, or jacket in splints, or Dowdall medical officer.
That is quite right.
The only sentence in the prisoners on the prisoner must be entered into the governor's book.
Yes.
There is a rule stating that all punishments must be entered into that book.
I have nothing to do with that.
Under what circumstances, then, was the prisoner deprived of his bed and bedding?
I don't really quite understand you.
If you cannot, then all I can say is my command of the English language is not quite adequate.
I merely marked him fit for deprivation and close confinement.
Is a prisoner, before being sentenced, is he tried?
Yes.
And is the sentence administered to him after the trial entered into a book?
Well, I presume so.
To your knowledge, was the sentence of deprivation of bed and bedding entered?
Not to my knowledge at that time.
On the 17th of September, you had no knowledge that Thomas Ashe was to be sentenced to be deprived of his bed and bedding.
No.
And in fact, he was not.
No.
And it was not under that record that he be deprived of his bed and bedding.
I cannot tell you what the reason may have been.
The dates speak for themselves. He was not deprived on the 17th.
No, I believe not.
Was he in separate confinement on the 17th?
No.
You were bound to visit him every day when he was deprived?
He was not in a punishment cell, nor was he under special discipline, and I was not obliged to visit him unless he directed my attention.
Can a man be deprived of bed and bedding without a trial of sentence?
No, I assume not.
Let me reveal another rule to you. He shall not be deprived of mattress for the rest of his sentence, after the first 14 days, except as a punishment. The punishment can only be inflicted as a result of trial and sentence. If the doctor has got no record to go upon, you say the prisoner you are not obliged to visit him.
Unless a prisoner complains.
You cannot know, except by the governor's book, as regards what the prisoner was doing wrong.
Except he complains to me.
You cannot know, except from the governor's book of sentence on a prisoner.
Except in that way.
Therefore, the result of the non-entry of a punishment into the governor's book is not only to inflict a punishment beyond the prison rules, but to deprive the prisoner on the punishment of the service and daily visits of a doctor.
I think that is for the governor to reply.
The principal duty of the jury is to bring in what Thomas Ashe died for. It would be easy for me to say, to point out to them, to bring in a verdict in the evidence of Dr. McWeeny. He stated death was due partially to syncope, owing to the failure of a weak and slightly dilated heart, and partly to congestion and dilation of both lungs. All the doctors agreed with it. With one exception. Dr. Dowdall, the prison doctor. He stated death was due to a weak heart and starvation. The evidence of starvation would consist in no food being found in the alimentary canal and no fat on the tissues. But in this case, there was a fair quantity of liquid food, milk, eggs, found in the stomach, and a good deal of fat on the body. I myself will bring in a verdict in accordance with Professor McWeeny, Sir Arthur Chance, and Sir Thomas Miles. But the jury are perfectly within their rights to bring in a verdict in accordance with Dr. Dowdall. Professor McWeeny said Thomas Ashe did not die of hunger. Sir Thomas Miles, Sir Arthur Chance, and all the other medical men agreed they were not in favour of forcible feeding. This is also my view. Has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, sir.
We find the deceased, Thomas Ashe, according to the medical evidence of Professor McWeeny, Sir Arthur Chance, and Sir Thomas Miles, died of heart failure and congestion of the lungs on the 25th of September. And it was caused by the punishment of taking away from his cell the bed, bedding, and boots, and being left to lie on a cold floor for 50 hours, and then subjected to forcible feeding in his weak condition after a hunger strike of 5 or 6 days. We censure the castle authorities for not acting more promptly, especially when the grave condition of the deceased and other prisoners was brought to their notice on the previous Saturday by the Lord Mayor and Sir John Irvine. That the hunger strike was adopted against the inhuman punishment inflicted and as a protest against their being treated as criminals and demanding to be treated as political prisoners in the First Division. We condemn forcible feeding or mechanical feeding as an inhuman and dangerous operation and should be discontinued. That the assistant doctor called in, having no previous practice in such operations, administered unskillfully forcible feeding. That the taking away of the bed, bedding and boots was an unfeeling and barbarous act. And we censure the Deputy Governor for violating the prison rules and inflicting rules which he had no power to do. But we infer he was acting under instructions from the prison board at the castle, which refused to give evidence and documents asked for. We tender our sincere sympathies to the relatives in this sad and tragic